for the day. We have Usef Abdul Zahir. long name. So if I've crushed it, you'll fix it, Usef. So I thank you for being here today. He's going to talk to us about resumes and the current trends that are out there happening right now, and are they good things or things that we should be doing? So Usef, I'm going to turn it over to you and hear what you have to say about resumes.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate you having me, and hello, everyone. I appreciate your attention. As it relates to my topic, I hope to be as interesting and engaging as the panelists. I promise you it's not boring. You know, sometimes we kind of gripe and groan as we think about preparing resumes, but, you know, I'm here to share with you one helpful approach is to treat it like a living document. As you are continuing to grow and expand yourself, you'll find ways to rephrase your experiences. But ultimately, it's the approach of being confident in how you market yourself. So much of what we heard as it relates to the panelists is encouraging you to take advantage of the experiences, take advantage of your networking, your social capital. All of those are going to lead to value adding experiences that you can capture. And in capturing those, you want to be mindful of how you present it, but two, also be very comfortable in speaking to it, right? So I'll give you a little bit of my background. I'm from Northeast Ohio. I grew up in Canton, Ohio. Ultimately went to Wittenberg University. So found my way in Central Ohio by way of college. After graduating Wittenberg University, I completed my MBA with Franklin University and really have taken on HR as a profession and a passion really since then. So found my way in Columbus, Ohio by way of really just seeking opportunity. And with that being said, I needed to be prepared for that opportunity. I realized that I wasn't, to be quite honest, fresh out of undergraduate. You know, as much as I attained some knowledge, I wasn't experienced in the degree that a lot of the market was experienced, but the market certainly was different then than it was and it is now. So I'll touch on that as I circle back and speaking of the trends and what we're experiencing now. But I share that to say that it's the confidence you do get in experiences. So many of our panelists encourage you to lean into your confidence, lean into your strengths. And you do so by one, being mindful of your experiences, being cognizant and being present, right? So as you're doing any type of community volunteering event, how does that look in regards to skill sets and abilities, right? Because that can be added to your resume as it relates to specifically, you know, having a functional resume and having a resume that maybe more represents a CV or a representation of your life experiences. As it relates to having that more functional resume, you do want to be a little bit more specific as it relates to what those experiences are and how it speaks to the job. I encourage everyone to take a look at the need, the employer's advertising. So from that perspective, you'll be able to capture some of the same words that they're using and use it in your representation of your experiences, right? So that can change. You know, some words may be used specifically in one industry, but it same action and processes may be described differently in another industry. So that's really where you can use that functional approach of changing your resume to fit the needs you're applying to or that you're seeking, right? So I speak to that and sharing that also, you know, you want to be mindful of how you're presenting yourself and keeping your information up to date. I'm a recruiter. I've been a recruiter for 10 years, and there's so many times where I've engaged with high-level professionals, and one way or another, I have not been able to contact them. And we're moving in a world where things are happening in days rather than weeks as it relates to recruiting processes and engaging with talent. So ensuring that your information is up to date and ensuring that you're flexible to engage with individuals who are able to, one, provide an opportunity for you. So one thing I would encourage you to do as you think about resumes and preparation of resumes is thinking, one, ensuring that you can be connected, right? I'm going to speak more to principles and approaches in comparison to specific bullet points. So as I'm speaking to these, it's really one, we want to get in touch with you. I'm speaking as a recruiter, right? And as recruiters or as anyone who is interested in your talent, skills, or business, they're going to want to get in touch with you. You want to make sure that that information is up to date, but you also want to make sure that you reflect in your verbiage what they're looking for, right? And a great way to do that is capturing that on their employer page, capturing that in their branding, how they speak to themselves and the work they do, any value propositions they present. You want to do your research and be able to speak to that and apply your personal experiences to it. As we have those conversations, sometimes you run into these pitfalls or these areas we want you to avoid, right? And so much of it is common knowledge, but it's always helpful to revisit it, right? So as we speak to what to avoid, it's being mindful of the reality is that there's gaps. There's gaps in employment, whether it's due to the pandemic, whether it's due to life experiences. You want to be able to speak to those. What skills were you working on in those gaps? What's the schooling? Were you taking time away to focus on family and providing care? We know that that's what the world looks like. With that being said, be comfortable speaking to it. Don't just leave it as a gap, right? Have you ever told a story and you just kind of just leave someone on a cliff? That's the feeling a lot of employers or recruiters will have if we're looking at your resume and there's a lot of good information, but then there's some gaps and there's no explanation of that gap, right? So as we speak to keeping people engaged in your story, you want to do so the best you can, and you can control some of what may feel as if you couldn't control, right? So I'm speaking to those life events, those challenges. As it relates to additional don'ts I would highlight is really think about a accurate representation of yourself. You know, as much as this doesn't need to be said, embellishing, a lot of times people can find ways and sift through that, right? So you never want to misrepresent yourself in any way where it can be identified as contradicting to how you're sharing, right? So a lot of times someone may overrepresent their skills. And if you're put in a position where some of those skills are tested, you and that employer may have a negative experience, right? And some of that can be controlled through accuracy and being, you know, I guess being candid on what you can and can't do. And a lot of employers are aware of developing talent, what developing talent looks like, working on the future of workforces, and how that information is being presented can help someone identify, hey, is this someone who needs development? Can we develop this individual, or are we expecting them to do something that they can't do? And you were going after a title and not specifically the functions of the role. It happens. The reality is that we're all ambitious and we all want to get that role. Nevertheless, sometimes it is that development, and sometimes it's those previous roles in your resume that give someone the impression that you can do some of this future work, right? Some of the, maybe you're going from a individual contributor to a leader, and all of the work that you did as an individual contributor, leading committees, leading teams, leading functions, can translate to you leading others in those same spaces. So I only want to share that as a premise and an approach to be comfortable sharing what you don't know in your resume, be comfortable with the gaps, but own them in that regard. So, you know, I don't feel as if there's so many don'ts in my lens of view, I guess I'm saying in my line of sight, in comparison to where I would love to see more, right? I would love to see individuals who are more responsive, flexible, individuals who are representing their selves accurately, but also speaking to how they can add value. I think as we're looking at our time and being mindful of that, ultimately your resume is a demonstration of how you can add value, right? How you and your experiences, your life journey, and your network can add value to a partner, an organization, another business. And in doing so, you want to make sure that you do that in every way that you can to capture real time, realistically, what you've been doing, but also speak to those skills and those outcomes from those actions, right? If you did lead a team that was top in sales, you know, capture that, capture your wins as much as you can. But also, you know, I think that translates to the interview conversation as well. So as we speak to what's going on now, right? Right now, we're in a virtual world. We're interviewing individuals via any interview platform. We're reviewing resumes and engaging with people. There's now software that you can complete an interview before even speaking to someone, right? You self-record your answers to their questions. They then get that information to the recruiter. So there's a lot of different avenues where we're exploring as recruitment to capture the attention of talent, but also to best determine who's the best fit. So I leave you with these points of being comfortable with technology. Technology is going to continue to evolve in favor of the recruiters, in favor of employers, to best identify who is the best fit as quick as possible, right? So some of that does involve keyword recognition, right? So think about that when you're looking at the job, capture some of those keywords. Some of that also does involve comfort with technology, being comfortable speaking in front of someone or a panel of individuals on a Microsoft Teams conversation, on a Zoom meeting, being able to still read the audience and navigate through some of those questions that they have in a virtual space. It's not as easy as it was when we were all in front of people and feel a little nervous, but lean into it, share that information, share this new to you, share that you're nervous, and then take ownership of it with confidence that we heard from so many of our panelists, because it is this experience that's going to lead you to that next point of confidence, that next point of success, and the I guess, ability to learn in moments of failure, as I think about what was shared with us previously. So my message to you is capture your experience as much as you can. Keep this as a living document. As much as your iPhone is updating, update your resume. You know, think about it like that, because as much as technology is finding efficiencies, better ways to represent itself and provide an outcome, I encourage you to do the same. So again, thank you for your time. I appreciate it, but I hope that I shared some gems with you.
You packed a powerful punch in a short period of time. I know we ran a little over on the panel, and so I know that you had to cut things a little short, but man, you really filled that space. So thank you so much. And Usef is a wonderful leader in the HR world, and I appreciate him taking the time to be here today. And as with everybody that took time to be here today. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know, we all learn tidbits and nuggets of information from that. So appreciate your time today. So that being said, we're going to wrap up today. I know we're going to do one more drawing for our mentoring opportunity with Jimmy Malone, our radio personality, who's going to spend some time with our students. And so we're going to pick 5 more before our time ends today. And so with that, we have I ransom. We have a lot of ransoms on here. So this one has the first initial of I. Our next one is Gonzalez Onifree. And I'm writing these down to make sure that we don't lose track of anybody. Our next one is O'Donnell. And we have 2 more. Our 4th one, J. Janosic, or R. Janosic, I'm sorry, R. Janosic. And then finally, our last winner for time spent with Jimmy Malone. And I will contact you as well as the teacher in your area that will help you get connected. And we have Weaver as our final winner for today. We will have 10 more winners on Friday. So please join us, or excuse me, please join us on the 30th. I don't know why I said Friday. March 30th is our final E4Me Opportunity Fair. We're going to be having a military panel, a service panel, law enforcement and public safety. And we have a student who's gone on a journey of how to get admitted into a military academy. So he'll be presenting how that process works. So please join us on March 30th. For those of you who might be interested in the enlistment world or service, that could be firemen, EMTs, any service personnel and law enforcement. So look forward to that. Again, I thank all of our panelists today, and thank you, our attendees and our participants, for being here, as well as all the career readiness leaders out there who brought students to participate today. We'll have a recording of this that will be posted on our website within the next couple weeks. So I will contact you and let you know when that posting goes up so you can use the recording in future lessons. Thank you again, and have a great day.